My bully cousin tripped me at the family reunion, breaking my leg and laughing it off as a prank. 10 years later, he needed a kidney transplant, and I was the only match, but suddenly developed a medical condition making donation impossible. Growing up, my cousin was the family perfect child who tormented me relentlessly while everyone looked the other way. We were both in our teens when the infamous family reunion happened at my grandparents' lake house, a massive gathering with about 50 relatives from across the country. Everyone was buzzing around, catching up, and eating, while I was just trying to mind my business as usual. My cousin had been extra obnoxious that day, shoving me when adults weren't looking and making snide comments about my clothes. I was carrying a plate of food across the deck when he stuck his foot out directly in my path. I went down hard, twisting awkwardly and landing with a sickening crack that I still remember hearing clear as day. The pain was instant and blinding. While I was writhing on the ground, he was laughing his butt off. When my parents rushed over, he immediately switched to his innocent act. It was just a joke. How was I supposed to know he'd fall like that? Not my fault he's so clumsy. The worst part? The adults bought it. My uncle, his dad, even chuckled and said, "Boys will be boys," while I was being loaded into the car to go to the ER. The break was bad enough to need surgery and a metal plate. I spent the entire summer on crutches, missed soccer tryouts, and dealt with physical therapy for months. Meanwhile, my cousin got nothing more than a half-hearted, "Say sorry to your cousin" from his parents, which he mumbled with a smirk when forced. What really twisted the knife was how my extended family treated the whole thing. At Thanksgiving that year, my aunt had the nerve to say, "Thank goodness that leg thing is behind us now," as if my ongoing physical therapy was some minor inconvenience. My cousin would mockingly limp when adults weren't looking, and nobody in the family seemed interested in holding him accountable. Edit. Some people are asking why my parents didn't do more. They did argue with my aunt and uncle about it, but they've always been conflict-avoidant people, especially with family. Plus, my uncle is the successful brother who pays for a lot of family gatherings, so there's this weird power dynamic nobody wants to disrupt. After high school, I moved across the country for college and built my own life. I limited family contact to occasional holiday calls and a visit every couple years. My cousin, meanwhile, remained the family favorite despite flunking out of the college his parents paid for and bouncing between jobs his dad got him. Fast forward 10 years. I'm 26, established in my career, in a good relationship, and genuinely happy with my life. Then I get a call from my mom that stops me cold. My cousin is sick, really sick. His kidneys are failing due to some genetic condition, and he needs a transplant. The family is being tested as potential donors. "We're hoping you'll get tested too," my mom said. "Family has to stick together in times like these." I agreed to the test mostly to keep the peace, fully expecting not to be a match. The universe has a twisted sense of humor though, because guess what? I was the only compatible match in the entire family. When my mom called with the news, she was tearfully grateful, already talking about scheduling and how I'd be saving his life. The pressure was immediate and intense. Suddenly everyone who had dismissed my broken leg was blowing up my phone about what a blessing it was that I could be there for my cousin. My aunt called sobbing about how I was the answer to her prayers. Here's the thing, I never actually said I would donate. I just said I'd get tested. But the family had already decided for me, the same way they'd always decided my pain didn't matter compared to my cousin's convenience. So I went to see another doctor and had a private consultation. Then I called my mom. "I can't donate," I said simply. "The doctor found something that makes me ineligible." "What? What did they find?" she demanded. "Medical condition. Doctor-patient confidentiality. I'm not at liberty to discuss the details." Was there actually a medical condition? Let's just say there was certainly a condition making me unable to donate. A psychological one called not wanting to give an organ to someone who deliberately broke my leg and never faced consequences. Edit. To be clear, I didn't fake any medical documents or lie to doctors. I simply consulted with a transplant psychologist who agreed that given our history, I was not in a good position mentally to donate, which is a legitimate reason to be excluded as a donor. Medical suitability includes psychological readiness. The family erupted in chaos. My aunt accused me of lying. My uncle offered to pay for whatever treatment I needed to make donation possible. My cousin even called me directly for the first time in a decade. "You're really going to let me die because of some stupid prank when we were kids?" he asked. "Funny how it's a stupid prank now that you need something from me," I replied before hanging up. He didn't die, of course. He went on the National Registry and eventually got a kidney from a deceased donor after a rough year on dialysis. But he did lose his job during his illness, and most of his friends disappeared. His parents had to sell their vacation home to cover medical bills their insurance wouldn't.